Hi guys, hope you are all doing well, and this time we are back again with another video, and we are going to discuss about POF, that is proof of funds.
Yeah, so what exactly is proof of funds? Proof of funds is the minimum requirement of the funds as described by the government of Canada that you need to bring into this country in order to meet the federal skilled worker program requirement, that is the express entry program.
So guys, there's a limit of the money if you are coming alone. If you are coming with members like one member, two member, there's different set of money, and this amount has recently been changed in 2019 by government of Canada, and we are going to discuss about that very soon.
Okay, so now comes the point that who needs proof of funds and who doesn't need proof of funds. So the first thing we'll discuss about that who needs it. So the people who are coming on express entry program or on any kind of PNP, that is provincial nominee program, so they have to meet those proof of funds requirements in order to fulfill the eligibility criteria.
And guys who don't need the proof of funds are the guys who have work permit, or they are coming on LMIA, and they have a valid job offer before coming to this country. These are the people who don't need to show POF.
Yeah, but there is an add-on on the job part that, for example, we got the job after getting our confirmation of PR, but still we had to show our proof of funds because we had already, already filled that form with the actual funds which we mentioned there. So we had to fulfill that criteria, just because on the time of landing they might have asked us, although they didn't ask, but still.
Yeah.
So if you get your job offer before you get the invitation to apply, then you don't need that. Otherwise, after the COPR or after your PPR comes, you definitely need it.
The point which Gagan is mentioning here is that usually people like we started applying for the job only after we got a PR. So that doesn't mean that we don't take the POF. Exactly. And we don't consider it. You have to consider it because in your profile, which you have already submitted to Canada, government of Canada, you have shown your POF. So you have to take those documents along with you.
Okay, so now comes the point that what all things are acceptable as proof of funds. Yeah. So the first and the foremost thing is your fixed deposits, and those fixed deposits should be they can be liquefied at any point of time. Your tax saving fixed deposits are not considered to be your proof of funds.
What else can be there is your savings account. Obviously your salary is coming and yes, you have put that money aside and you are not using that money. You can use it to show as proof of funds.
Yeah, and for both of these you have to at least show that they are 6 months old. Yeah. That is the minimum requirement, or the average balance in your account should be at least 6 months old.
So whole thing is the criteria is that this money should belong to you as you are coming to Canada, or it can belong to your spouse. Yeah. But you should have access to that. So what we did in our case is I showed some amount of money, and some amount of money was shown through Gagan's account, and we got a affidavit.
But the thing was that as I am the primary applicant and he is the secondary one, so I got it notarized on a 50 rupees of stamp paper, and there we had declared that I have access to his funds as and when required, and then both of us signed that document and we uploaded it in the client information part, which we get once we receive an ITA and we right, start filling our application.
And except that you can have gift deeds which can be on your name.
So what exactly is the gift deed? The gift deed is something which you get from your parents or your grandparents, and they show on a notarized paper that they have gifted that money to you. And the best part about this money, that it can be even 1 day old, so yeah, you don't need to specifically save it for 6 months or something. If you don't have your savings, then I suppose gift deed is the best option for you.
So guys, try to maintain the good amount of balance in your account, because if you have 6 months old, it's better. Else, gift deed is another option.
Okay, so now we come to the part that what kind of a letter needs to be obtained from the bank. So this
Right.
is something which he'll tell you.
So guys, the letter which you get from bank, it has to be on the letterhead of the bank of the organization from where your saving account is, or from you have your FDs or anything. So for FDs, we get the certificates, and it should be duly signed and stamped from the organization, that is the bank. And along with that, the name of the bank has to be mentioned, the address of the bank has to be mentioned, and a certificate kind of thing will be given by the bank, where it will be mentioned that this is the name, this is the account number, and this account was opened on this date, and this account is that much older, and this is the money he has, and there has to be one line which specifically says that this money can be liquidated at any point of time. This line will be there in the FD certificate as well.
Yeah, and the letter has to be obtained on the bank's letterhead. And secondly, the declaration for any kind of debts or loans or any kind of credit card bills, if
Yeah,
pending,
they
has to be mentioned there. So that letter, you can go to any of your whichever bank branch you have, or whatever bank you have your account with. You can go there and you can just request them for that letter, and you also have to obtain the 6 months
last 6
of
months.
pass sheet, that is the bank statement,
Statements.
so that you can just create a PDF out of all these documents, and you can upload it in after you get the IT in the uploading section.
Guys, one tip here. I went to Kotak Bank, I went to Citibank, these kind of banks, they have their own different formats. So you have to be sure that all this information is included. What they told me was, sir, this is a specific format, we can't mention this, we can't mention that. And I was like, no, these are by the rules and regulations. I need each and every information there. I need that specific line saying that this amount can be liquidated at any given point of time. And I told the manager, I even sat there for about 2 hours, because I really wanted that there should not be any rejection or question marks from the immigration department on these documents, because they are very strict, guys. Make sure, because if you have money and you can you need to take all this money with you, so there's no harm in getting all the things in a proper format.
Yeah, and you don't need to worry about the format part on the in the sense that it should be same for everything. See, like he mentioned that the format is it varies from bank to bank. So it's just that you have to make sure that all the important details are there, nevertheless of what is written on the
True,
document.
true.
It's just that the main thing matters a lot, so that you need to take care.
And guys, one important thing, just now while Gagan was saying, I remember that when I went to these banks, I went to SBI as well. They don't have a specific letterhead. They just have a printout, or I can say a photostat stuff, right? Which is not colored with, that is black and white. So in order to make it look authorized, make sure you tell them to stamp it and sign it, and you have to take a scanned copy of the original document.
Yeah, even for your fixed deposit certificates,
Yeah.
just make a photocopy of them, just because I think most of the times we get a physical copy of the certificate as soon as we get the fixed deposit created. So in case you are creating it online, then also please obtain it from your bank, so that you can just take a photocopy and upload
That's a
it.
very important point you mentioned, because SBI folks, they told me that they are going to charge money for the bank statement. So what did I do is I took the bank statement from the printout myself, and I took it to them like, okay, this is a bank statement, and they just verified it, and then they stamped it and then signed it. So that is another alternate you can do. You have access to your statements, just take it print out by your own, but make sure you have to stamp it, and the bank has to stamp it, and you have to take it to them, and they have to sign it as well.
Yeah, and the next important point is that how much you need to declare
Yes, very
once
important.
you land here. So you can bring any much, like whatever proof of funds you want to bring, like it can be 10,000, 15,000. But if
Maximum, there is
something
no
is,
limit for the maximum.
yes, but if something is more than 10,000 Canadian dollars, suppose you are carrying it in whatever form, be it in the forms of stock, be it in the forms of property document you are having, or debentures or bonds or
Yeah.
shares, but you have to declare it to the immigration department as soon as you land here, because if you don't do that, and in case you you have a custom check, then you will be in trouble.
So guys, make sure, this is a very important thing. Make sure you declare it. Don't land into trouble. If you
Yeah.
have below 10,000, no problem.
Yes.
You don't
And
need to
you
do
don't need
anything.
to worry that if you'll declare it, so that will get taxed or something, because that is something which you have already paid the taxes for in your own country. So they don't bother about that. It's just that they just want to know that you are carrying something which is more than 10,000 Canadian dollars, and that is when you land, there is a separate department, the customs department. So if you want to declare anything, you have to go there and you have to declare.
So guys, by which means you can bring this cash when you come, bring this money when you come to Canada? We'll make a separate video on that,
Yeah.
because it's another different topic, and we'll come back to the POF. So what we are going to talk about is what is accepted as a POF. So that we already talked about. I'm sorry. So,
And the most important, last and the most important point is that what are the new updates regarding the proof of funds?
yeah, the money, right? Like how much money it is required. So the latest update is from 2018 to 2019, they have made a difference about $100 to $200.
Yeah,
Amount
depending
difference.
on the number of people, but with every person, I think a certain amount of money increases some a few dollars, I suppose. In our case, I'll give you an example. We paid 15,530. Sorry, didn't pay that. Sorry, it was like
We had to declare
declared
in the proof of funds.
15,530. That was the requirement by the Canadian government
For two people.
for two people,
And now it is 15,772.
yes, so there is a rough difference of like $240. So that is not much, but I know it matters to some people who are just making both ends meet, and they are trying
Forget
hard
about
to come here.
how it matters. Tell me one thing, Gagan. If the amount which I'm declaring in proof of funds, if it's equivalent, if I'm declaring in INR, if it's equivalent is 15,700, suppose, all right, what will happen to my eligibility? Like for the immigration, can they cancel it for this much of difference?
Yes, for sure. These days they have become very strict, and if you are not at par with what you have declared in your application form prior to your ITA, then they are definitely going to screw you up, and they will cancel your profile on the basis of this
It will be rejected. It will
minute
come back to
thing.
you
Yes.
saying that insufficient proof of funds declared.
So-
Now one more question for you, Gagan. If suppose now the the currency varies, right? One Canadian dollar is equal to 51, 52, 53, kind of varies.
Yeah.
Now today, if I'm getting all the proof of funds done and everything, and suppose tomorrow CAD goes up, and whatever I have, like 7 lakh, 8 lakh, whichever I have done in my home currency, and that amount changes, how do I need to tackle this situation?
Always be on the safe side, guys. That's the
Put a
only,
little bit extra, right?
yeah, that's the only thing you can do. Suppose you have to convert 10 lakh Indian national rupee into the Canadian currency. So say that is the amount which is equivalent to the CAD requirement, which is shown by the Canadian government. So just keep an average of like 40 to 50,000 rupees. That is the INR, and to be on the safer side, please keep that much money, so
Yeah.
that even if the currency fluctuates, then you should
You
have
are
that
you're on
much
safe
money.
side.
So what we did was, like I mentioned, that the requirement was 15,530 Canadian dollars. So we already declared 16,000.
Yes.
And when we moved here, the price of one Canadian dollar was like 56 rupees. So it saved us big time. So this is how it is.
So guys, proof of funds is very critical. One thing, if you are already in a process, because I know a lot of our viewers, they are already in process of getting immigration, make sure you already have one account which you know maintain that account, you put money into that, so that when you are done with your IELTS, when you're done with your WES and all this stuff, and you get ITA, and the point has come that you have to declare your POF, you don't have to figure it out now, what should I do. You already have one account, you already have money in that. Just go to one bank, get the document, get it done. So
But don't
it'll be easy for
worry,
you.
he had 3 accounts and he did that for 3, so you don't need to worry about that. But yeah, a good practice is to keep a
Right.
single account. And one more thing, the people who have already received the ITA and who are in the process of getting a COPR, they don't need to worry on this proof of funds part, because for them it is not going to change. But for the people who are yet to receive ITA, these requirements
Yeah.
are applicable to those people.
So guys, every year there's an update from the CIC on the changes of this proof of funds. So make sure, like for 2019, we have already told you, make sure you make your friends aware, your family aware who are trying for the immigration, so that you guys are aware of it. And this is a very small thing, so don't get your profile cancelled because of this small reason.
Yeah, and we are going to provide the screenshot of
Yeah.
the changes prior to the previous year
Yes.
in the comment box below. And in case you have any questions or any concerns or any suggestions, please feel free to comment it in the comment
And
box.
I need a feedback from you guys. Was our voice audible now? Please do let us
Yes,
know.
exactly. Just we have worked a lot on that now.
Alright guys, looking forward for your comments and feedback. Hopefully this video was helpful for you.
Yes, and thank you so much for watching us and subscribing to us. Thank you so much, and take care. Bye bye.